Welcome everyone. In our previous video, we saw how to install and set up Apache JMeter in a Windows machine. Today, in this video, I'm going to explain the exact steps for recording a HTTPS web application. And for those who are new to JMeter, one easy way to create a test plan is to use the recorder. And today I'm going to use that to create the scripts. Before I move on, I welcome you all once again to Little's Law YouTube channel, and this is your Vasanth Shanmugam. Thanks for subscribing to my channel, and if you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe my channel for more interesting and informative videos. Thank you. So to start recording the script, let's first go to JMeter home folder, and then under home let's open the bin folder, and then we have to open the jmeter.bat file to open the JMeter. Let's minimize this. So here we have got the JMeter, and let's now select templates on the menu bar. Let's click on this template icon, and let's open the recording template on the list. So we have various other templates here. We have a bean shell sampler, and we have building a SOAP web service test plan. We have a web test plan, and we have building an advanced web test plan, and we have building an extended LDAP test plan. So we have various other protocols as well. Let's now start with a recording template, and again we have a recording with think time as well. So for now, let's start with recording, and then we can click this create button to get the test plan readily open. Again, let's click the create button. So here we have got the complete test plan that has been generated, and here we have various other components as well. We have user defined variables, and we have HTTP request defaults, and that has various values to be filled. Let's see them one by one. So here we have the name field, which tells us what is the name of the HTTP request, and then we have the comment section, and here we have the protocol and the server or the IP which we are going to test, and the port number. And let's now move to the next component, which is the cookie manager, which stores the cookies during recording. And again here we have two options, which is clear cookies during each iteration, and use thread group configuration to control cookie clearing. So for now let's disable them. And then let's move to the thread group. So in thread group we have various actions, which is like to continue and starting next thread loop. Then we have stop thread, we have stop the test and stop the test now. So these are various actions that we can control the script during the testing. And then we can define the number of users here. Then we can define the number of the number of seconds where we can delay each user to ramp up. And then we have this loop count, where we can keep it as infinite, or we can give the number of iterations as 1 or 2 or whatever we may require. And then we have same user on each iteration, whereas if we log in as a user, we can use the same user on each iteration. And then we have this delay thread creation until needed, Then we have this specified thread lifetime. So we'll see each of them in another video in detail. And then we have this recording controller, and then we have this view results tree. So here we can see the results during the testing and during the validation. And then we have this HTTPS test script recorder. So here we have various global settings. So in this global settings, we have very important parameters. We'll discuss them one by one. So the name, which is required one to denote like it is HTTPS recorder, but it does not relate anything with the script creation. So let's now move to the global settings. So by default, we'll have the port number 8888. So the port that the HTTPS test script recorder listens to 8888, and we can change it in the local host in our browser configuration. So we'll see that later. And then we have this HTTPS domain, and then we have this target controller under test plan creation. So the controller where the proxy will store the generated samples. So we have different locations. One is use recording controller, and the next is test plan where we have this thread group, and then we have this test plan under which we have the thread group, and then the recording controller, and we have the other one which is test plan and this HTTPS test script recorder folder. So these are the various places where we can store the recorded script. And then the next thing is grouping. So in this grouping, we can decide whether to group the samplers for a request from a single click, that is the request received without significant time separation, and how to represent that groups in the recording. So we have different types of grouping. So one is do not group samplers. So this will store all the recorded samplers sequentially without any grouping. And then we have this add separators between groups. So this will add a controller like a vertical line, a dotted vertical line, to create a visual separation between the groups. Otherwise the samplers are all like they stored in like a separated stored sequentially. And then we have this put each group in a new controller. So this will create a new simple controller for each group and store all the samplers for that group in it. So that's why we use this put each group in a new controller. And then we have this store first sampler of each group only. So as the name suggests, it will only record the first, it will only record the first request in each group, and that will be recorded. And the follow redirects and retrieve all embedded resources. So all these flags will be turned on in this samplers. And the last one is we have put each group in a new transaction controller. So this will create a new transaction controller, which is a kind of a folder thing, which is a new transactions for each group, and store all the samplers for that group in it. So that's how we can use all these samplers. So basically, for now, let's take this do not group samplers, since this is going to be a very basic script. And then we have this capture HTTP headers. So now we have this capture headers. So we will have a question like whether do we need to enable this or not. So should headers be added to the plan as a part of the script? So if specified yes, if we are selecting yes, so what it will happen is a header manager will be added to each HTTP sampler, and the proxy server always removes cookies and authorization headers from the generated header managers. So by default, it also removes if modified since and if none match headers. So when this is checked, so they are used to determine if the browser cache items are up to date. And also while recording, one normally wants to download all the content. So to change which additional headers are removed, we can define the JMeter parameter properties like proxy.headers.remove as a comma separated list of headers. So that will actually give us a clear picture on what are the type of headers, HTTP headers we require and which we can ignore. And next we have this add assertions. So selecting this will add a blank assertion to each sampler, which is a kind of a text check or image check we can add. So by default it will not be selected. So by selecting this, it will add a blank assertion to each sampler. And third, we have this regex matching, which is regular expression matching. So using this when replacing variables, like if checked, so this replacement will use word boundaries, something like it will only replace word matching values of variables and not a part of a word. And a word boundary follows the definitions and is equivalent to /b, something like an escape variable. So we will see that how to use this regular expressions matching in our correlation or other scripting or modifying those scripts. So we'll see these regular expressions in the scripting while we do that in our advanced tutorial videos. And at the bottom we have four values under recordings default encoding. So the first is retrieve all embedded resources. So selecting this will retrieve all the sources or all the resources which we record. So whatever the files that are behind, something like a JPEG file, something like a JS file. So whatever files that are embedded on the resources will be retrieved. And then we have this redirect automatically. So selecting this will actually make the redirections in the, automatically in the samplers or in the request. And then again we have this follow redirects. So whenever there is a redirect page, so this will automatically do the redirect from that particular request. And then finally we have this use keep alive. So this will keep the session alive till the end of the script is getting executed. And next we have this requests filtering, where we can add the request which we need to include, and we can also add the requests which we want to exclude, something like a JPEG file or something like a .bmp which we might not need during the testing. So we can exclude all those files in this requests filtering. So we can add any request and we can add any number of requests. So by default there are some already excluded resources are displayed here. So now let's start recording, but before recording there is one more thing that has to be done, that is installing the certificate in the Chrome browser or the Internet Explorer. So there are like various different browsers and each browser has its own step to follow. So since we are using Chrome browser for recording, so let's now follow those steps. So under bin folder, we can find the Apache JMeter temporary root ca.crt. So this is a security certificate. In case if you don't find the security certificate, please check the description for the link. I will share you the link where we can get the Apache root certificate. Let me double click on it. Then we get this certificate window and I'm clicking on this install certificate button and I'm selecting current user and clicking on next, and then I'm again clicking on next, and let's finish this and we are done with the installation. So here we have got the import was successful message, which means we have successfully imported the certificate, and let's click OK. So we are now done with the root certificate installation, and let's now move to the script recording. So before we start the recording, we have a very important activity to be completed. That is, we have to set the proxy of this machine to the local host and the port to 8888. Only then all the traffic will get recorded into the JMeter tool. So to do that, we have two ways to do it. So first, we have to open the Internet Explorer and go to the Internet options. Go to the Internet options and then go to the connections and open LAN settings, and here we have to select the proxy server as localhost and the port number has to be same, which is 8888. Then uncheck these automatically detect settings if in case it was selected, and click OK. And before that, let's see the advanced, and it's all set fine. So let's click as OK. So this is one way we can do this localhost settings, since Chrome and the Internet Explorer share the same proxy settings. And again, to confirm that, or to again set, this is a different way to do it. So let's go to the settings in the Chrome browser and search for proxy and open the computer's proxy settings. And again, this is another way of doing it. So since we have already set up the local host via Internet Explorer, so it is already saved there. And then we can click save and click close, and now we are ready for the recording. Let's start the recording now, and let's be ready with the URL. And comparing with other tools, so basically in other tool, to start the recording, we can once we click the start recording button from the tool, automatically the browser will get kick started and the recording will happen. But in JMeter, we have to open the browser separately and we have to enter the URL. But before that, we have to click start, so that all the proxy will be recorded using this port and localhost. So let's first click start, and then we get this pop-up message, and let's click OK. So now we have this transaction controller which says we are ready for the recording. Let's now open the browser and let's enter the first transaction as landing page. Let's start with the first page. So we have successfully open the first page, which is the landing page, and let's now enter into the application. Let's click enter the store, and let's now sign in, which is the third transaction. Click sign in, and let's now enter the credentials. And click on login. So we have successfully logged in, and since this is a basic script for recording, so let's close up with this. So let's now close it with the sign out, and we are signing up the application. And yes, we are done with the recording. Let's click stop, and we can close the browser or we can leave it as it is. And once we come to the recording controller, let's see the scripts are recorded. And yes, we have successfully recorded the scripts. We can see all those requests here, all the HTTP header manager. So whatever requests that are getting recorded, you can see all those things. So we can see the server name or the URL of the application, and then we can see the port number, which is 443. So we will see about this port number in another video. So for now, it is the port number 443, and then we have the other requests as well. So this is basically a GET request, and we have other scripts which has these parameters of entering the sign in. So let's see them one by one. So in this, we have got this username and password that has got recorded. The username is 1 and password is 1, so all of them has got recorded. So in case if we need to make any parameters parameterization, we can actually take care of that from these requests. And then we have this sign out where we have sign off the application. So the scripting has been completed successfully, and let's now validate the script and see how it has gone, how it has been recorded. So to see the results or to see the validation result, let's now move to the view results tree and click on the run button. So the thread group is like we are running with one user and the loop count is one. So it will be validating for one iteration with one user, and let's click on the button. Okay, so let's save it. So now we have started the validation. The validation is going well, and these are the redirect responses, and this is the valid response. So here we can see the response data, and to see that more successfully we can see this one, so where we can see the exact pages. So this is the actual page. So by selecting the HTML option, you can see the actual pages here. So this is the signed in page, so everything is working fine, and we can see the sign out button here, and this is the sign out. So we have completed recording the first script and we have validated it successfully. We will see about parameterization, correlation, running a load test with a minimum number of users, and various other advanced techniques in our upcoming video. Please do follow the channel, subscribe, and like, share, and comment your valuable feedback. Thank you. See you in our next video.